All right, music fans, welcome back. Harmless Dave here, talking about real music and geopolitics and Garth Brooks and Trisha Yearwood and John Rich. A lot of stuff going on in the world of country music. Doing it in real time, talking about all this stuff in real time for a few, like one or maybe two out of 68 real people out there, just like you and just like me. All right, because people are complaining that I'm not showing these CDs. Believe it or not, some people like this stuff. Here's Allocate, another band from Sweden. This is their album called Butterfly. The album cover does not really match the music inside. All right, this is a terrific album from start to finish. I would go look for it, go listen to it, and then, if you're on Patreon, tell me what you think about it. Send me a message saying, yeah, that Allocate thing, not so good. I don't know why you showcased that. Well, I showcased it because I like it and I think it's good. We don't always have to agree. And I tell a lot of people on Patreon who share things with me, I go, yeah, I just don't like it. Sorry. And I'm trying to be better at not being disagreeable when I disagree, but it's really hard. It's a virtue to try to be nice, even in the face of people who are not being nice to you. So all the patrons are great. And by the way, if you are a patron, thank you very much. If you'd like to join Patreon, $1 a month, $2 a month, pretty simple. I usually put a link in the description. Also, for fans of crazy, off-the-wall, unique, eclectic radio, modern retro radio, which is modernretrofm.com, playing the music that few other radio stations have the courage to play. And yeah, so go listen. Now, I've been listening to Garth Brooks and Trisha Yearwood, and John Rich is the guy who pointed this out to me. John Rich from Big and Rich, and now I think just John Rich solo. He's a really cool musician, and he's got some really nice establishments where you can go and drink almost any beer you want, except for one. And of course, he was making fun of Garth Brooks because apparently Garth was saying that he's going to continue serving this beer, which apparently is going bankrupt or something. I don't know what they're talking about. Some brand of beer. They had some influencer and something happened. But in any event, this is actually a more serious topic. So this is what John Rich tweeted here. He says, Garth and Trisha really want you to know it's time for you to be a good person and hand your money over to Ukraine. Okay? Okay. So Ukraine. I'm sorry if I messed that up. But if you know where Ukraine is on a map, that's good for you. A lot of Americans don't know where it is. Let's listen to Garth and Trisha as they appeal to your wallet.
We stand with Ukraine.
All right, full stop. The synchronicity there between the both of them. These guys should sing together. It should be a husband and wife duo. They should be out there on the road. They would just rake in the dough if they would go out and perform, and then they could probably take $1 from every ticket. Of course, they probably should tell people they're going to do this first, and then they could donate money to Ukraine. Now, let's hear what they have to say. Let's be fair.
Especially the refugees.
There's a global initiative, and of course, supplies and aid is already spread thin. And this is where you come in. We need your help. We need you to donate.
What's up with this spooky background music? Now, Garth Brooks did make a distinction. He said, especially the refugees. All right, I'm down with helping refugees, but I'm going to say something toward the end. I think that will make a little bit more sense to people who don't even know about the geopolitics here. And then I may touch on the geopolitics. I've done this when I've done videos where I've had to defend Roger Waters. People were calling him all kinds of names, like he's a Putin puppet, a Putin apologist, yada, yada, yada. All right, so moving on again.
Yeah, I mean, we always ask for love and prayers. Please keep doing that. We're also going to ask you, dig in your pockets, be part of the greatest global relief plan mankind
Everybody deserves dignity. Everybody deserves a roof over their head to feel safe. You can be a part of that.
Yeah, amen. So join us, won't you? Stand up for love.
Stand up for mankind.
Stand up for Ukraine.
What was that little fake laugh at the end? Ha! Stand up for Ukraine. Ha! Stand up. Hey, we did it. 37 seconds. Synchronicity here on TikTok. Good job, Trish. Now, all right, so let's cover a couple of things here. First of all, John Rich pointing this out, that people need to dig into their pockets to help Ukraine. And that way, you know that you're a good person. You got your little Ukraine flag emoji or whatever in your profile picture. And there are a lot of people that do on Twitter. It's embarrassing, folks. It's embarrassing. You know, here's the deal about Ukraine, right? So I'd be willing to send money just for the refugees, for the civilian refugees of Ukraine. I'd be willing to send them money if we no longer have a homeless veteran problem here in the United States. We eradicate veterans who are homeless. We give them jobs. We give them great places to live because they fought for the country, number one, and we've really abandoned them. So we solve that problem, okay, and then maybe we'll talk about it. And then you could go down the list. Homeless people in general. They don't have to be, veterans. We've got homeless, and that problem is growing. We've got people still recovering from natural disasters, like down here in Southwest Florida, right? Does anybody care about that? Well, you really need to dig into your pockets for the greatest global relief effort in the world. What's going on in the global south right now? Does anybody know what's going on in Africa? Since the pandemic, the food supply, the supply chain for poor people in Africa is really drying up. And it's affecting millions of human beings, where people are starving to death. Okay? Now, I empathize with the refugees, but notice how Garth and Trisha aren't calling for a ceasefire. Nobody is here in the United States. Nobody is saying, it'd be good if we could negotiate a peace treaty. You know what we did yesterday? We authorized another $1.3 billion, or at least we proposed. And by the way, nothing really, yeah, I think they do vote on this stuff. And there's bipartisan support where this just sails through Congress. Another we don't have $1.3 billion, Garth and Trisha. We don't have that. They're printing it up. And which is causing your interest rates to go up, which is costing your insurance premiums to go up. It's causing more inflation. You're paying ridiculous prices. 2 bags of groceries yesterday, $90. 2 bags. Not even really that full. I mean, I'm paying double what I used to pay for certain items. And this is at Walmart. I'm not going to a fancy supermarket. I'm not going to Publix, because that Publix, it's like your eyeballs fall out when you walk down, the soda aisle, and you're like, when did a 12-pack of soda become like $10? When did that happen? I missed that. Well, it's Biden inflation. All right, that's what it is. Okay, and it doesn't seem to be getting any better. They say it's slowing down. Garth and Trisha would like you to send your money to Ukraine because it's the greatest humanitarian disaster of all time. Now, how about before we send money anywhere, we try to stop the fighting between Russia and Ukraine? Well, Russia's really bad. Putin is evil. Really, because in Ukraine, there's a group of people in Ukraine called the Azov Battalion, all right? And these guys fight, right? They're fighting aged men, and they idolize this character. I think his name is Stefan Bandera. You can look all this stuff up and see if I'm telling the truth or not. And that dude was a big fan of this other guy by the name of Adolf You may have heard of him back around World War II era. Adolf. I don't know if the name rings a bell. So they're basically saying, look, these people need to get rid of this group of people who idolize some of the worst people in the history of humanity. The Russians are saying this. That's one of their motivations. And the fact that apparently there was a civil war going on, and most of the people being targeted were ethnically Russian in the eastern part of the country of Ukraine, affectionately known as the Donbass region. All right. So that's your geopolitics 101. But celebrities, I love them. They're the best. They just say stuff and they have no context. They don't care about the other side of the story. They know that there's this evil guy in Russia who is causing the world to implode because he doesn't want everybody encroaching upon his country anymore. Now, do I think Putin is a great guy? Do I think he's the guy that you could trust with your kids or anything? A little iffy there. Very iffy, okay? But we're not trying to end this. We are funding it with our tax dollars. So Garth and Trisha, they're asking for more money on top of the inflation and the higher interest rates and the exploding national debt and the fact that we're depleting our own military. Hello? We're sending all this. I know it's older equipment. So the older equipment, it's going to do really well against that state-of-the-art Russian stuff. It's going to just... and when they lose, what happens to that equipment? Well, it's either getting destroyed or it's getting captured. So, and this all from a little 37-second commercial for Ukraine. The beginning of this is probably one of the creepiest things.
We stand with Ukraine.
They stand with Ukraine. I stand with the homeless veterans. How's that? I stand with veterans who are used and abused and have been now for like 60 years and counting. 60 plus years. Does anybody care? Does anybody care about homeless veterans? We keep doing these wars and these people are literally left behind. And we're not taking care of them. Now, if they had done a little video, I stand with the homeless veterans. Veterans, by the way, commit suicide at an alarming rate. Alarming. There are statistics that are just mind-boggling. And we keep creating more homeless veterans because that's what we do. Again, the military-industrial complex. And old school Republicans, they don't care. They want to fight because we're the world's global superpower and we have to maintain our superpower. Really? With the guy who can't complete a sentence, who falls upstairs and downstairs, we're the global superpower? Oh, yeah. We're so powerful. We're very powerful. We're still very powerful. And I'm coming back. So it's going to be great. It's going to be amazing. And you know what? I'm going to send Ukraine whatever they need. Whatever they need. If Vladimir says no, I just continue to send them stuff and eventually they're going to win. And I'm going to say, Vlad, you got to knock it off, Vlad. That's foreign policy. That's the former president. The current one can't talk. The old one says stuff like that. So we're really up, you know what's creek. Oh, Dave, how come you're not? No, don't tell me what I'm supposed to be for. All right? Or who. I'm not joining a cult. I'm not going to be part of a cult of personality. All right? And I'm starting to think it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. This is just entertainment. So Garth and Trish, they're just getting on the entertainment bandwagon. It's entertaining to talk about this cause. I've got my lapel pin. Notice the blue and yellow. I'm more virtuous than you. That's what this is. And God bless John Rich. John Rich is a good guy. And Jason Aldean. And a few of these country guys, they get it. Not a lot of them. Aaron Lewis, there's another one. Travis Tritt. You would think like the majority of the country people would just come out and say, whatever happened to America? You know, how about like a coalition of country musicians who believe in America ahead of some country that most people can't find on a map? Anyway, folks, I shared the Allocate CD. This is not country music. I tend to usually, if I'm talking about country music, I'll share something. And I was sharing the Wilder Blue earlier, and here it is. If you're a country music fan and you're tired of Garth Brooks and Trisha Yearwood, by the way, I think Trisha Yearwood is one of the greatest female singers ever. I really do. She's amazing. And it's sad. And Garth in the 90s, Garth Brooks was like a superstar. Like, just the impact he had on the country music scene. And then he got distracted and he wanted, he was into Billy Joel so much that I thought he was going to try to co-opt Billy and say, hey, I know you're doing this tour, but can I just come along with you and be a part of this? We'll sing Shameless for like a half hour. Anyway, folks, it's sad. All of those icons, all of those people that you really looked up to, then you find out what they think. I mean, Garth, Trisha, do some research. Do some research. Stop drinking the Bud Light too while you're at it, but do some research. Find out what people in flyover country think. Don't think about what the media is telling you to think about all day long, because they'll steer you in the opposite direction of what's really going on. Ukraine, do some research. Do some homework. And you'll find out why this happened in the first place. And it's pretty easy when you look at the treaties that were signed, the coup that happened in 2014, all of the stuff that's happened, how many people have lost their lives in the eastern part of Ukraine. And this is before those evil Russians came in. This is way before that. In fact, this is the reason why they came in there. They're like, okay, can you guys stop this? And you can, just knock off, talk about Stefan Bandera and all this, and maybe we can sit down and we can negotiate a peace treaty. In fact, I think they had one negotiated last year, but the U.S. basically said, no, we'd like to fight another forever war so we can produce more homeless veterans. Awesome. Awesome. All right. I have, again, spoken for far too long. If you don't enjoy this content, I understand. Keep in mind, though, there's not a lot going on in the world of classic rock. The retirements keep piling up. Ted Nugent, Foreigner. Check out the Eagles. I know they're going to be on tour for like 3 years before they finally stop. But pretty much everybody is going away. So the only thing you can really talk about is how they're going away. How many shows they've added. The Eagles have added more shows, and you'll need your American Express card. In fact, you'll need to increase the limit on your American Express card. Dave, there is no limit on certain American Express cards. You put whatever you want on there, and then maybe you'll pay it back. Yeah. We are $31 trillion, $32 trillion in debt. But we're going to send more money to Ukraine, and you need to send money to Ukraine as well. And you can find out more by checking out the Garth and Trisha post over on Twitter. And John Rich, again, thank you, brother, for that tip. God bless the world, folks. God bless Ukraine. Let's hope that it stops. The war stops. Nobody talks about stopping the war. Everybody talks about funding the war more and giving more money to Ukraine. But nobody ever says, it would be good if we could actually put an end to the war. That's my opinion. I know I'm in the minority. Do some research on it. Don't just believe Garth and Trisha. Find out for yourself. All right. Bye-bye.